Hey, nice flamingo. Oh, thank you, I just got it. Wait, don't touch it! Welcome back everyone to my robot base defense game. After changing my whole game in the last devlog, I was playtesting some and could rarely get past the first wave. Now, I might just be trash at games, but this wasn't fun. So to make the game playable, I decided instead of making the enemies weaker, I'd add more weapons and defenses to make you stronger. For the first weapon, I wanted to keep it simple, so I made a club. Since the punches weren't doing enough damage, I added a weapon you could buy right at the start. It works like the axe, but is a bit weaker. However, setting up a new weapon made me realize my previous system for damaging enemies was really dumb. I am more disappointed with my past self every day. How I was doing damage was giving each weapon a tag, then checking for each tag on collision to see how much damage it would do. Obviously this isn't scalable and I have to change it. So now each weapon has a script attached to it that tells how much damage it does and what type of damage. This is the basic piercing, slashing, bludgeoning, and everyone's favorite, bullet. This simplifies everything, and now when I add more enemy types, they can be weak or strong against certain damage types. And now after that nice side tangent, the club is done. But I wanted so when you start a new game, you can buy a melee weapon or a ranged weapon, depending on your playstyle. So for a ranged weapon, I added a slingshot. To get this working, I just followed CodeMonkey's tutorial, and after updating it to only work when you're holding the slingshot, it works great. Now you can zoom and shoot enemies. You might be thinking this is way stronger than the club, but that's because it uses your scraps as ammo. Think about it like just pulling junk out of your pockets and throwing it at people. And since scraps are the currency you use to buy everything, it's a pretty big trade-off. Yeah, you'll probably live, but you won't have much money to buy things afterwards. Speaking of buying things, the store got a huge upgrade. Each menu was already getting pretty full, so I broke the items into 5 categories: structures, defenses, weapons, resources, and decorations. And I gave each item a description. This ranges from helpful to ooga booga. And you might have noticed the resource tab has these 2 new plus signs. This will be how you heal your house. In my game, after each round, the house will heal the defenses and you, but to heal itself, you need to pay. It is expensive, so this makes you choose if you want to play it safe or risk it and buy something else. I do give you 2 options though, one being a full heal that cost scales with the amount you need, and one that just does a flat 25%. And this is much easier to see now that the house's health bar is on the UI. Still not loving how it looks, but it is useful. And while I was changing the UI, I figured that since the shop is only open in between rounds, it would be a good idea to add a timer so you could see how long you had until the next round. And since I know you won't need the full time every round, I made it so you could hold Q to skip right to the next round. But if you want to fortify your base more, I also added 2 new defenses you could use. I want every defense to be something you could realistically see on a farm. Okay, maybe not all scarecrows have guns, but close enough. For the new defenses, I wanted to make a lawnmower and a flamingo, just with a twist. For the lawnmower, I wanted it to be like you flipped the lawnmower upside down and gave it a bigger blade and then just let it rip. I started with some simple boxes and I got it functioning correctly. But once I got it, I realized it was way too strong. Anything that got near it died before it could touch it. The obvious solution was to make it damage you as well, so you can't just place it anywhere. But I also made it so it takes damage whenever it hits an enemy. Say the blades wear out or something. This makes it so it will put in work, but it has a max amount of damage it can do every round. Of course, I make it stop spinning when it runs out of health, and in between rounds so you can pick up all the scraps around it. And with everything working great, I decided it was time to start modeling. Now, it's been a while since my 30-day Blender challenge, so I'm a bit out of practice, but I think this turned out okay. And when you flip it over, you can really see what I was going for. I decided to remove most of it and just leave the middle section, since I thought that looked the best. I got it added to the game, and it works great. Now, I can add my favorite defense, an innocent flamingo, strapped with C4. I wanted this to work like a claymore. You plant it in the ground like a normal lawn flamingo, but then if an enemy gets close, it'll just explode. But unlike the other defenses, this one will not come back. Think of it as a last line of defense. It will do massive damage, but will have to manually be replaced. However, it will also hurt you, since it looks silly if it didn't. Of course, I still had to make the model and add it to the shop. The model actually went really well, way better than a stupid giraffe. The C4 vest was a bit harder, but I think it turned out pretty good. I got it imported into my game, and boom, perfect as always. But now I need to go work on the enemies, since they're too easy now. If you guys have any cool ideas for other weapons or defenses, maybe like a gnome launcher or something, let me know. I'd love to add more unexpected weapons. So see you guys next time.